Scorpio rising. How you doing, Scorpio? This is your reading for the Virgo full moon that was a total lunar eclipse. I'm recording this after the event. I do apologize. It took a while to get this transit out. I've got a lot going on in my life right now. But I work with 6-month cycles just generally when it comes to lunations. And obviously eclipses are bigger energy as well. So what comes through in this reading is going to serve you in the Virgo area of your chart for the next 6 months. We're also going to be tapping into the Mercury retrograde that happened nearly exactly 24 hours after the full moon. And obviously Mercury rules Virgo, so it's all interlinked. We're going to be pulling some cards on that retrograde. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body. You just heard some vocal light language. You're seeing some physical light language right now, and all of this brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that are going to come through in this reading. Now, before I crack on, there is a collective reading. That's the first video that goes out, and I've broken down the astrology of the exact moment of the moon in way more detail of how everyone's talking to each other and what sort of energetic blueprint that creates. And I tap into the most integrated and expansive intention of any transit, because then it's like the root energy, and then you can apply that to all the little nuances in your own life. I got so many channeled messages in the lead up to doing that video, and a lot of that reading is the channeled messages, but it was very interlinked with the astrology, and the tarot that I pulled also was very connected to all of that. It was beautiful. There's lots of really good stuff in that collective reading. I'm going to be focusing on the houses in this reading, so if you want a deeper understanding, go check that out. Also, if you have not seen the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node transit series, that's in its own playlist. It's really easy to find, and I tapped into the energy of all of that, the bigger, longer term cycle of this eclipse cycle over the next year and a half in that transit. And so if you want to go even further into the North Node Pisces, Virgo South Node, go check that out. I've been applying everything that came through in that reading to my own life, and my life is completely changing in the best way possible. Right, I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who do not have Scorpio in the first house, look to the house it does fall in your natal chart. Look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Scorpio to the messages that come through, because it will be as if that Scorpio energy, wherever it falls in your natal chart, has now energetically moved to the first house. So when I talk about the houses and the astrology for the rising sign, it will always still link in. You've just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. For example, I've got Scorpio in the 4th, so I'd apply the themes of the 4th to the messages, and I've got Pluto, Vesta, South Node, and Saturn there. So I'd apply all of that to what comes through in this reading, just to give you an idea if you're not a Scorpio rising. But my Scorpio risings, before I crack on to where this has happened for you, we're going to get 3 cards for the moon. And the card at the bottom of the deck for the 1, what's being cleared out with this eclipse, 2, what's being activated that you're then working with over the next 6 months, and 3, a card to help you figure out, okay, what can I embody to facilitate, that's not a word, facilitate pile number 2. And then we'll move on to the Mercury retrograde. So Scorpio rising, where did this happen for you? I don't know what's going on with my words. I mean, I do. Mercury's retrograde. It was happening in your 11th house, the house of good spirits, hopes and dreams, friends, groups, and alliances, as well as reaping the benefits from your 10th house. Now, the South Node's there, and this is releasing a lot of blocks. And so this full moon's going to be part of that energy, because the moon was conjunct the South Node, releasing a lot of blocks around how you hope and dream, right? Virgo can be very practical, and unless there's like a clear awareness and of the sort of materialistic possibilities, we can limit ourselves in the way that we hope and dream. And this is being a refinement of this. We're letting go of a lot of those structures. But you may have felt during the lead up to this eclipse, as well as during, a lot of old patterns, old blocks coming to the surface in order to be released. Friends, groups, and alliances, right? How you show up in groups, how they show up with you. Are you connected to your soul family? You know, it can bring about a restriction around friends because you're then condensing what you truly need in that kind of dynamic. So there may have been themes around friendship, old wounds that may have come up, as well as this sort of reorientation, which is what this moon is doing, to you connecting to things that really nourish you and facilitate you. Oh, I'm feeling some big energy around the heart at that one. It's also the house of what we reap from the 10th house, the benefits and the rewards. And the 10th house is life path / career, visibility, reputation. And so there's something here around releasing wounds, around being able to receive things from the 10th. I find that these houses, the way you've got mutable signs, which is my brain, the second house of your values and your skills and your tools, your creative energy, each relationship dynamics, as well as the 11th house of hopes and dreams, they all can have wounds around being able to receive and being able to give at a higher level, because so often through various reasons, and it's a big collective energy, we don't really value ourselves unconditionally, and therefore that means we've got blocks around being able to receive. And this feels like a big clearing out around that. And so it's going to be bringing up those old cycles of releasing blocks around being able to receive things from your 10th. I just clocked what that was. I wish I hadn't, because that would have been a fun reveal for me. And really allowing new pathways to come in to facilitate receiving things from your 10th that may not be, you know, the typical Virgo energy. Virgo just wants to facilitate, and it's doing so with Pisces, because the sun is over in Pisces, and obviously it was a total lunar eclipse, so that moon was blocked and the full light of the sun was influencing it really, really heavily. And that's over in your 5th house of your creation energy, your house of joy, right? Everything I'm going to say stems from that creation energy: pleasure, amusement, games, play, romance, dating, love, children, both literal children such as your inner child, literal children such as children, or figurative children such as your inner child, wounded or not. We can get a lot of trauma here because of that inner child. We get a lot of addiction, distorted love languages, all of that kind of stuff, as well as creative things you birth into the world that feel like your children. So the sun has been influencing, let's bring some creative energy into the way that you hope and dream, right? Let's bring some more joy, some more expansion around your pleasure in different ways, that's allowing you to hope and dream in different ways, allowing you to facilitate and feed those hopes and dreams. Oh, can't tell what that is. That sounded like a dog howling. Letting out your instincts, your passions, your drives, howling at the moon. So the sun was really wanting you to focus on the way through is joy. You don't have to have all the answers about how your dreams are going to manifest. The trick is to focus on that joy and that cultivation of your pleasure and your creation energy, and that is going to be the way through. Now, the major aspect that was going on, which I haven't mentioned for everyone, but these last card has taken a little while, so they're obviously wanting me to talk about it, is that Uranus was making harmonious aspects to both the sun and the moon. And Uranus is over in Taurus, opposite your sign Scorpio, in your hopes and not your hopes and your dreams, the house of the other, right? This is one-on-one important relationships in your life, or that sense of awareness of the commitment of the 7th house when it comes to other people, the outside world. That can be business partners, clients, friends, long-term lovers, as well as your relationship with source. And so this would certainly happened to me. So Uranus is a very sort of high octane energy. It's very fast, it's very sudden, there's a lot of energy around it. And so while it's in Taurus, it can dysregulate the physical body, right? You can sort of shake up the nervous system. And that Virgo eclipse was the gut, right? The digestive system. So you may have found that some things have gone on around that eclipse where some sort of big shocks, right? Because Uranus is inherently trying to liberate you of blocks around the other in regards to your creation energy and your hopes and dreams, right? So a typical understanding of that would be perhaps you've had difficulty. Difficulty. Okay, we're getting the card at the split and the card at the bottom of the deck, with commitment and one-on-one relationships, whether it's with source or romantic partner, because we've got that fifth house energy showing up, as well as hopes and dreams. And for a lot of people, it is about love. It is about that level of connection. And so Uranus would have been bringing things to the surface that have blocked you truly being your unique self, and this sort of very liberating energy around the other that may have blocked your creation energy and the way that you hope and dream. So just trust in that process, because it's really trying to reorientate you to be confident in your pure, your clear creation energy, and no longer be restricted by the wounds of the inner child, the distorted love languages that we then recreate when we interact one-on-one with people. So this is a really powerful activation here, which all it's doing is orientating you to facilitate your hopes and dreams from a creative place that are beyond the old paradigm. I'm going to pause and write that down. That's a good tagline. 11 minutes on the clock. Right. So this is what's being cleared out. So this is what this eclipse has released for you. And we have Temperance in reverse. So this is interesting because this is Sagittarius, which is another mutable sign, which I referenced earlier, of your second house of your resources, your skills and your tools of how you manifest and bring in regular income. But most importantly, this house, the second house, is about how you value yourself. And if we don't value ourselves truly, madly, deeply, we're not necessarily able to receive the skills and tools and elevate them, as well as bring in regular income, and well as being able to receive in those other houses that I talked about, the mutable signs that you have. And so this is clearing a block around your own value, right? And the Temperance card is the alchemical process. Any blocks of you being able to raise your frequency and step into that new space. There's a sort of tapping around the third eye. Because obviously the Temperance card has got a massive symbol of the sun at the third eye, right? So again, that's bringing the Pisces energy of your creation energy, where the sun is, of that block around fully utilizing that your creation force. Right, let's see what is and I saw this one. What is the most integrated and expansive intention of this eclipse that's going to unfold over the next 6 months? Ta-da! Perfect for the 11th, right? Because this is about the outward manifestation of your emotional balance, your emotional gratitude, your inner emotional alignment, of seeing it out in the world, very akin to hopes and dreams, whatever they may be, whether it is a sense of partnership, whatever it is. That's just a representation of the emotional fulfillment and the joy showing up in the outside world. So this is the intention, is getting you to a place where, with that creation energy, the water energy of Pisces, by following that joy, following that creation energy, without needing to know the details of how it's going to manifest externally, it's going to start to come through. And obviously, stereotypically, because of that Uranian energy over in Taurus, of the other, of a long-term romantic committed energy. For some of you, this is about reorientating your frequency to be able to receive that kind of engagement. Right. How to work with it. This is what to embody. This is what the energy to focus on in order to amplify what's going on with that 10 of Cups, 3 of Pentacles, mastery of self. Right, this figure over here. This figure didn't become a doctor or a solicitor. You know, the kind of stereotypes that parental figures really would love us to do, just because it means we're safe and secure, right? This figure followed their heart, followed their creation energy, their passion, their joy of carving marble. And because of that kind of sovereignty of their creation energy, they stepped into a place of mastery. And then because of that, they drew towards them others, right, in order to create something beautiful and long lasting. Now, this may be literal people coming into your life when you're focusing on the mastery of self, to collaborate, friends, groups, and alliances, maybe drawing towards you new soul friends, soul family, that are more in alignment with building for the long term rather than perhaps drama that there may have been before, as well as they're wanting, again, it's just doubling down on focus on your creation energy and your joy and the mastery of that. And if you build it, they will come kind of vibe. And I can also see this as like different aspects of self coming together, where you're now able to receive those different parts of yourself and build your hopes and dreams. So they're really wanting you fundamentally to focus on your creation energy and bringing it into the 3D realm, just for the pure joy of it, not for any consequences, not for any not based on any assumptions that, oh, if I do this I'll get this, right? Let go of this expectation and follow your joy. Now, at the split, we got the Empress card. Whoop! Hi, Venus. Very beautiful energy to go with the house of joy and the house of good spirits. She is pure creation energy. She wants you to feel good in the 3D world. She brings about abundance and fertility. She's able to see that everything is fertile in its nature, right? This is a real sense of a birthing of an embodiment of your, like Venus, her favorite place to be is the 5th house. So again, it's really doubling down on that 5th house that will cultivate your capacity to manifest your hopes and dreams by, by your creative outlet. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Hanged Man, which is Neptune, which happens to be in Pisces. So again, really focusing on that 5th house. I'll focus on the joy. And this is an alignment to a higher perspective. That's the only halo in tarot. And really allowing yourself to get out of the old spaces and bring in, they're wanting to put it with Venus. That if you think about the fact that Neptune's in your 5th, it's going to move into the 6th this year. You're going to get so much inspiration and so much illumination with Neptune being in the 5th. I want you to follow that. Just really allow that to undulate through you and know that that is dissolving a lot of the old wounds, even though we've cleared out the Temperance in reverse. I've got the 8 of Cups underneath the Empress, so that's leaving behind unconscious responses that no longer serve you. And coming into a state of clarity, that this is a really great time to harness what Neptune's trying to tell you and letting you dissolve old stuff with the inner child and all of that. They're really wanting to focus on the dream via the joy. Not the details, not the planning, and just be really open to receive. Right, Mercury is retrograding in the sign of Aries. It happened, as I said at the beginning, 24 hours, nearly exactly, after the full moon, which was obviously ruled by Mercury. So that's why we're bringing this energy in. I'm not doing a full Mercury retrograde series in these signs. It's coming through in this transit. But what I have done is a Venus retrograde transit series. That was the last transit that I did. And she's retrograding in Aries and Pisces as well as Mercury. So there's a lot of themes and a lot of information in that transit that's very relevant to the Mercury transit, particularly because Mercury was conjunct Venus at the time it went retrograde. So all of that Venusian energy is imprinted into Mercury. Now, instead of if you're watching it, bring in more of the mercurial energy. And for me, Mercury is about flow. It's about information transfer, and everything is information and everything's talking to each other. It's about how we perceive things, whether it's an illusion or more of the truth, how we engage with that information, how we process it, and how we communicate it. So it's very much about downloads, activations, messages coming through, as well as a reorientation of how you're perceiving reality and communicating with yourself and with the external world. Now, because it's a retrograde, it can go back, it's going back and forth over the same territory, which can mean a bit of misdirection, things not happening in the speed that you would like, but it is about bringing depth and nuance. The yin energy retrograde, it's really cultivating and realigning, and with that yin energy it's able to understand, okay, this isn't serving me anymore, I'm letting go of that, and we're then going to cultivate what's left. And it's starting off in Aries, in your 6th house of work, how you work, physical health, routines, co-workers, and therefore collaboration, pets, and therefore acts of service. It's the adult in the room, right? So Mercury is helping you reorientate and recalibrate around the information that, do I want to say that, around how you understand the way that you work, how you process that, and how you communicate that. How you are the adult in the room for yourself. Ooh, okay. Dia la moduscia le di anima. Di scinima. Dia la moduffa la di anima. So we can burn ourselves out with work. We can struggle being the adult in the room. We can struggle to understand how we work. And so Mercury being here is going to give you a lot of inspiration about where you're headed with how you work, right? It's also probably going to bring up some old thought patterns around being the adult in the room, around taking care of yourself, around how you work with others. But overall, what I'm really feeling is just taking you back to the original I am frequency and your instincts around how you work, and letting go of old perceptions, old limiting beliefs around the themes of that house, whether it's how you work with people, how your work is received, how you take care of yourself. You're also going to get a lot of great ideas around routines. And if there's health stuff going on, Mercury retrograde gives you the time and the space to receive the downloads, to understand what steps you need to take. So many of us can struggle being the adult in the room because we might not have had good role models growing up. And so Mercury can help release those patterns. And really bring through some really novel, unique, sovereign ideas that are to do with you and not to do with anybody else. Say you've perceived work as a heavy burden. Mercury, you can set the intention, or whatever it is, how you look at work, you can set the intention to ask Mercury to help bring in a perspective that allows you to fully embody that 6th house. I find the 6th house is so important, especially when it comes to how relationships work, because if you don't understand how you work, how are you supposed to communicate that to someone else and have a healthy dynamic, right? So, and also being the adult in the room for yourself, of respecting yourself, respecting the other person, rather than codependency or giving your time away and no longer being that adult for yourself because you're prioritizing other things in your life. So Mercury's going to move into your 5th house, into Pisces. So all that creation energy that we've already talked about, that pleasure, amusement, games, romance, dating, creative things. So let's focus on the creative outlet first. However that manifests, the Mercury in the 6th is going to give you some bright ideas of how things work in regards to what creative pursuits you have, whatever they may be. Everything is creative when it comes from your unique creative force. And then when Mercury moves into Pisces, this is a great time to work on projects, right? With the 6th house of work and the 5th house of creation energy. It doesn't just have to be a hobby or whatever. It can be through actual work or a relationship dynamic. That when Mercury moves into Pisces, you're going to be able to apply all of that creative understanding, or at least the methodology of how to work with a creative outlet, and put that all to practice. As well as having healthy conversations, perhaps with a romantic partner, perhaps with your friends. Maybe you've got a group of friends who always want to go out, always want to there's just a lot of drama, there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of distorted relationship dynamics, and you're just overwhelmed with it. And you're able to sort of communicate your needs without feeling that you've got to kind of toe the party line. There's a lot of sovereignty with this frequency that's coming in. We tie it in with the Virgo moon. There may be a group of friends where you're like, I'm just not connecting in the same way. And that's all part of the human experience. We've all got soul contracts. We're never leaving anyone behind. Everyone's walking their own path. Right? All of a sudden you're like, oh, I understand that dynamic really wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't feeding my creation energy. I'm not judging it, but I'm just not attaching myself to it anymore. So healthy creative energy, bringing the adult in the room into the inner child. We can get a lot of trauma in the fifth, addiction, distorted love languages. So really helping rebalance that, as well as having, as I said, healthy conversations with a lover, or with your understanding of why old relationships might not have worked, what wounds there are, and helping recalibrate them. Right, okay, so this is the most integrated and expansive intention of what Mercury's up to. And so then you can apply it to all the little details and the nuances of your own life. We've got the Eight of Wands, which happens to be Mercury in Sagittarius. So that's linking back to your sense of value. So this card, in a nutshell, is inherently saying whatever's going on, it is alignment. Right? It is taking you towards alignment. Now, retrogrades, they can have difficult energy. It can be a bit confusing. We don't really have all the answers and all the understanding. And so this card is one, letting you know of the journey of trust the process, trust that everything is coming into an alignment, that your instinctive nature around the way that you work is getting recalibrated to alignment. And things are just going to fall into place. Right, how to work with this energy. What to embody to help facilitate that Eight of Wands. The King of Cups. Hello, Scorpio energy. So the King of Cups is very stable in its emotional body, in its understanding of the power of each emotion, but not letting itself get entangled and drown in the overflow, right? I always envisage the King of Cups in the eye of the storm. Our emotions are always going on. There's stuff always going on. And the King of Cups is one of my favorite cards to channel at the moment, of being in awareness of the transitory nature, harnessing the power behind that, and not getting dysregulated. Another side of this is they really want you to take action around your creative energy, whatever that looks like to you. There's a level of maturity coming in and sovereignty coming in with this embodiment. And it's interesting, we've got water and fire with the Aries and Pisces dynamic of the way through, and very similar here, is your creation energy, right? Is your joy, right? Try and orientate your actions towards that creative life force, that joy, however small, whether it's just smelling a flower or enjoying the moon, right? Cultivating that joy. But they're wanting you to focus the way that you're working via that joy. And if you're feeling some difficult energy, that step into the maturity of sitting very calmly on your throne and allowing the storm to wish or swirl around you, but know that in the eye of the storm all is calm, and bring in that level of neutrality in what's coming in. And then from that space, from that place of surrender, with the awareness of the transitory nature, your creation energy, the life force of you, right? Because Scorpio, you are water, right? That sense of, from that deep stillness, the mutable energy of Pisces is going to be able to just provide such beautiful inspiration. Right at the bottom off the deck, we got the Ace of Wands. Can't make it up. Fresh, vitalized energy. Renewal of your passions, your drives, your instincts. The way through is the creative force, the psychic intuition, the emotional body, and honoring those experiences without attaching yourself too strongly to them. Say you're going through a difficult emotion, paint it, draw it, transform it in that painting, right? Or whatever modality you create through. That's just an easy example because we tend to associate creativity with, you know, that kind of thing. But it genuinely is you deciding to go and cook a beautiful meal that brings you a lot of joy, and like you're playing around and being creative and putting your own spin on it, right? So it's always about how your individuality comes through in your creation energy. Power, right? So this is a fresh new energy in the way that you work, in the way that you are the adult in the room, no longer being beholden to the old patterns. Now, what's going on in Pisces? And I've not seen any of these cards. So this is the most integrated and expansive intention of what Mercury's doing in Pisces for you. 10 of Cups. Twice. Scorpio. Shut up. This is so beautiful. I just love this image. You're being guided by the clarity and the inspiration and the imagination of your healed inner child, allowing you to know that you're trusting the process of being guided. This I feel like is you, right? With your crown and your armor on. Very protective. You're able to look around and see the inspiration, see the magic, see the beauty, see the messages. Because you're not worrying about where it's all going. You're enjoying the process and the joy of the journey, right? The pleasure of the journey. This is really beautiful in terms of those of you who are connecting more to the sort of the romantic side of the 5th house, especially with the 6th house of work and how you work, and bringing that together with your creation energy in a romantic relationship where there is a greater state of union, right? And there is equality and support and imagination and joy. You know, that's so very powerful. But it is you really being in alignment with the fluidity of your creation energy and enjoying that undulating unfolding of the process. And again, 10 of Cups, that's the outward expression of your inner alignment. That's wild, Scorpio. Okay, how to embody it. What to do, what frequency to tap into to help this process unfold. We've got the King of Swords. Oh, interesting. Let's have a look. I've not seen this card before properly. So there's a real sense of tapping into your own clarity and being open to receive messages, open to receive wisdom that come from unusual places, right? And there's a sense of hierarchy here, but I'm not feeling it predominantly. It's more that these messages, this wisdom, this support is coming from places that you may have originally dismissed before, right? So just keep an awareness open, and allow yourself to be open to different perspectives that are only going to enhance the truth of what you are, right? You got King of Cups, King of Swords. And act on that inspiration. Act on the little winking message, right? And because the kings take action, so there's this sense of having a vision with the synchronicities of Pisces, with the downloads from Mercury, and putting it into practice without it needing to be solid and the truth, right? It's wanting you to play with different modalities of how you're perceiving reality, and play in a very joyful, creative place without any expectations of this is always going to be so, and seeing what comes forth from that exploration. You know, this is an Aquarius card. You've got Aquarius in the fourth of your roots, your foundations, right? So what you're going to be going through is realigning those foundations, but also like doing creative stuff at home, thinking about your pleasure. What does your joy mean to you? What do relationships mean to you? And watch at, like, say if you're doing some deep healing work, listen to the things that you just wouldn't, that are a bit out of the ordinary, right? And explore what's trying to come through. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Cups. I love this card, right? So this is you being very, this always feels to me of the masculine and feminine within us coming to meet, right? So this is more us in the 3D, coming together in integration to meet our higher self of the masculine and feminine entwined, right? Which has the higher perspective, and receiving wisdom and messages from that. See all those birds, but there's a real sense of being open to receive what the higher self, what source is wanting to tell you. Obviously, it's a Page of Cups, so there's messages, there's downloads, there's lots of inspiration, there's lots of magic, and this really feels like this is you being, I've got the Knight of Cups underneath it, the embodiment of that, of you being able to receive the truth of your reality, rather than the distortions, the fear of like, oh, I'm never going to be creative, or my romantic relationships, okay, that wanted to come out, that just sort of fell off the deck. My romantic relationships are always going to be difficult. I'm always going to be addicted to this, that kind of wounded inner child stuff. Oh, okay, these come up very quickly. That Page of Cups is like, no, fresh new energy, the desire to connect to something bigger than yourself, that is fundamentally yourself, and lots of inspiration, lots of beautiful integration with you, with your higher self. And we can tie this back into hopes and dreams, right, via your creativity, right, via that creation energy of being able to manifest that way. Right, the card that sort of just slyly slipped off the deck is New Moon and Promise. Gazing at the silver of the new moon smiling down upon them, the couple embrace each other, welcoming the promise of their love. The fading sun drapes the clouds and waters with its tinge of luminescence, as the crescent opens its arms to the nearby planet Venus, named after the Roman goddess of love. This is a time for manifestation, beginnings and renewal, with the promise that our desires will come to fruition. Here, Grandmother Moon initiates another lunar cycle, moving from darkness to fullness and back again over approximately 1 month. Her promise of what is to come is embedded in the first glimmer of her light as she emerges behind the curtain of darkness that had recently encompassed her. It is a promise that has been kept for as long as she has existed. This is a time to launch a project, a new relationship, or renew something that has been put aside for a later date. With your intention and willingness to allow a full cycle to complete itself, that which you desire will manifest. The seed of that idea is ready to emerge from the darkness of your subconscious and into your full awareness. The next step is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. A promise has 2 meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When your will is aligned with the will of spirit and your intention is focused upon that which you wish to have happen, there will be fulfillment and the promise is kept. I mean, that couldn't sum up the reading more of the 2 Ten of Cups and the alignment to your desires, your creation energy. Oh, my third eye's throbbing. Itala dishini moyana. Dishatini maoyana mo toinia. Tuitanima. Dinima. Utofina. Oh, where are you? So I'm just looking up the next oracle card, which came flying out. And we've got the octopus. Reaching, yearning, lacking boundaries and direction. The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind, paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in well-intended but messy relationships. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint. They believe that what it's meant. They believe that's what it's meant. They believe that's what it means to be close. Very appropriate for Pisces energy. No boundaries. If you notice after spending time with someone that you feel drained or uneasy, the essence of the octopus is at play. Begin to establish healthy boundaries. Be patient and firm. It may be a very old habit to change. When in balance, interested, engaged, intelligent. When out of balance, needy, clingy, lacks courage. To bring into balance, space to oneself, and talk therapy. So that is highlighting the shadow side of what's coming through in this, right? You are realigning in terms of that energy, right? It doesn't have to be romantic. It can just be in general of pulling back a little bit to cultivate your inner creativity in order for it to not get dysregulated, because when we entangle, we can just we then become reliant on how what the outside world is doing and how it's engaging with our joy, and then that okay, I just looked at the bottom of the deck of what is blocking your capacity to really harness the truth of your creation energy and the way that you work. So this is really strengthening your frequency, which is going to bring in the possibilities, the experiences, because you're refining that sense of you're not entangling yourself in the same way. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the cosmic egg. This is one of the spirit cards. These don't come out very often. Completion, harmony, the infinite within the finite. I'm not going to read it all. The cosmic egg and the seventh chakra, Itala di anima. The subtle essence of the cosmic egg resides at the crown chakra, at the top of the head, called samsara. One of the aims of yoga and meditation practice is to channel energy from the base of the spine upwards towards Sara. I got that. I said samsara. It's not that. Sarasara. Rara. Each of the 6 lower chakras play an important role along this journey, and once the final epicenter of consciousness is activated, it is said to radiate the light of a million suns. So the process of condensing your frequency and the clarity that's, my third eye is really throbbing, is going to activate this higher light body, which is so in alignment, which is what's coming through for you. But there's an element of needing to do the work, needing to do the refinement on a daily practice, but trust in it. Don't be too hard on yourself. Always be loving. I mean, you've got 2 10s. It's pretty wild. I'm here for it. Scorpio, just follow the joy, follow the creation energy. Give it space. Give it space. Okay, my loves, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it resonated. If it did, hit that like button. Leave me a comment. It brings me so much joy. It's always such an honor and a privilege to read for you, my loves. If you want to deep dive further, whether it's about the eclipse cycle or the Mercury retrograde or anything else at all, my website is everywhere. If you want to pay by PayPal, email me directly. But other than that, my loves, be good to yourselves. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.